everybody, welcome back to another Dice Tower review. My name is Z Garcia.
I'm Tom Vassell.
Today we're taking a look at a Lunar base over here, a tiny little box, which is just a few cards, and you are going to be using these cards to build a station, a lunar station, trying to bring in astronauts, bring in some technology, take some main actions followed by some other kinds of actions, line up your cards so that little half circles meet and make full circles, you know, some spatial type stuff. Before I get too much into it, and we obviously give you some final thoughts, let me cut to the table, show you a little bit of what's in here, and we'll see you back up in just a little bit.
Show me.
Each player begins the game with a random Terran outpost, which look the same on this side, but the backs are different and hidden at the beginning, and one of these dials showing 3 lunar credits. This is going to show you the 4 different ways to win. If you get to 20 credits, you win. If you have 10 colonists showing in front of you, you're going to win. 5 different scientific achievements, and then 4 influences in your hand of cards, you win. If you do any one of those, you are victorious. Now, the influences are an optional extra thing that they recommend you throw in once you know how to play the game well. So I'm not going to bother with these right now. Just be aware that this one right now would not be in effect because this would be, well, not in the deck of cards and therefore impossible. All right? We're going to shuffle up the deck of cards that are made up of 2 different things, modules and agents. We are going to give each player 3 of these, and then we are going to reveal into a supply a number of these equal to 3 plus the number of players. So 1, 2, 3, 2 players. There we go. Deck of cards. We are good to go. So what you are trying to do, like I said, is achieve one of these, and in order to do that, you'll be taking turns back and forth until somebody wins. So on your turn, you do 3 things. The first one, you may play an agent. If you have an agent in your hand, you could choose to play that agent. It'll come out, it'll do something, it'll go away typically, all right? Second thing you do is you activate a main action on a card in front of you. Now you begin with this Terran outpost, and the Terran outpost has various boxes down here that are main actions. You're going to choose one of them and trigger it. There are other cards that will give you further main actions if you've built them in front of you, and you can tell those because they'll be modules, and the top half will be blue, such as this one, like this one over here. Has a main action there, and in fact, that entire box is a main action, so you get to do all of that. All right? So you choose a main action, you will trigger that main action, and then lastly, and thirdly, you will check if shuttles arrive, and that will happen if the display here, the supply, has no modules and no agents, i.e., in this mode of play, without these being in here, it's empty, okay? If it's empty, then we are going to make some income, hopefully, of those lunar credits, and then we reveal some new cards out there. So let's discuss some of these main actions. What do they do, and how do we develop this area in front of us? Well, you're going to have a few different symbols and a few different words that describe these things. So, for example, the first one here says draft. Draft means I pick one of these, I add it to my hand. That could be my main action. The next one is build. If I want to build, I'm going to pick a card from my hand and add it to my station here, paying the cost. The cost is up here, and that cost I pay for with credits, but that cost is discounted by any full circles that are shown in my station. So for example, if I want to build this right now, I don't have any discounts. It would cost me the 2 full credits. But if I put it, say, there, now any further cards I build that cost yellow, like this one, for example, I now only pay for this, the 1, 2, 3, 4 blue ones, not the 2 yellows. I'm discounting those 2, as you can see right there. And when you build a card, it can go into any configuration. You just can't cover anything, and you cannot make 2 halves that don't match go together. Gray, however, is wild, so that works. So I cannot do this because these 2 don't match, but if they did, I could do that, just like I could do this, and that gives me a red one there, okay? So again, you can sort of spin this around however you want to. Obviously right now, this is a pretty good play. but I wanted to make sure that you understood that things do not need to be in that kind of configuration. All right, so for instance, let's do that. There you go. That could be something I'm doing. And now I'm getting a great discount of blues, one red, one yellow, another yellow. If you put two gray halves together, it's wild, fully wild, so it's every color. All right. And again, to give you an idea of how we are trying to win here, some of the cards across the bottom will have these colonists, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and some of them will have these scientific achievements. You need 5 of these, but they do have to be different. So if I had this card in play, I could put it, say, there, or maybe even like so, there. Then I've got 1, and I need another 4 different ones. There's another one, and so on. Or 10 colonists, or make it up to 20 credits. When this area here is emptied and new shuttles arrive, then we are going to check, and every yellow dot you've got gets you a credit. This is true for all players. And then we refill from the deck to new 5 new cards there. And that's largely how the game works. All of the various abilities and things are variations on mostly what I've explained. And then, of course, like I said, the agents are going to be a little more confrontational. They will steal things from the other players. They will sometimes flip over the main station here to the other side. And in that case, then your main actions will change. You might have new abilities. You might have new symbols. And sometimes even full circles already within the card that will give you discounts. So there you go. That is how the game is played. Let's go ahead and go back up top. All right, so that is Lunar Base. Let's talk about the look first, because I really am a fan of some things in this look, I should say.
The look is classy, but it's meant to look like almost like a game that it's like a boutique game. The way it comes, I mean, from the box.
Yeah,
the
it's
lid,
got a magnetic thing.
All this stuff has. It's not ugly artwork. It's Spartan a little bit, symbolized. The cards flipping over with a little bit of shine on some of the stuff. The whole thing just looks cool.
It's like absolutely my kind of look.
I agree.
Right, because I like this kind of graphical design, and it's very. Again, Spartan is not one of my words; it's one of yours. But it is such an.
Spartan's actually wrong because Spartan is more. It's not Spartan. It's more. I hate using the word elegant, but it's a little bit that direction.
It's like bare bones, very elegant. It's very clean line work, light touch with the colors. Yeah, it's a good look. It's so my kind of thing.
That being said, though, it takes away from the fact that it looks like a space station. There's no cool drawings of space stations connecting each other, and I think it's going to be harder to understand the symbology in it.
It buries the symbols a little bit. I was going to say, this look buries the main actions into these tiny little squares that you barely see when all of this is put together, and I am not a big fan of sacrificing usability for the sake of some game mechanism, so I don't like that these cards can be turned sideways and upside down and whatever in order to make your station. I don't like that. If the card is upside down to me, I'm going to have a harder time checking it and remembering, oh wait, that one, I could do that too. I forgot I could do that one also, because it's upside down to me. I don't like that geometry.
Mechanism, though.
Yeah.
I like the idea of, as you add stuff to your space station, some of them give you things you can do.
Right. Or give other players things. Like if the card is really good, you have to allow your opponents to sell cards or to draw or whatever. And that's fine. I think the gameplay boils down to a little too much take that, kinda, or, really basic sort of races to resources that is not nearly as cool as the look of this game for me. I think the gameplay itself I found not quite elementary, but leaning that way.
I like the rules of the game. It's one of those times I read the rules and I was like, it sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, this game falls a little short. You mentioned to take that. It's not as egregious because the cards say this card is stealable.
Right.
And so some of the better cards are not. You can't put someone out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But the game also gives you this hint of, hey, connect these different dots of different colors, get resource production. You're like, ooh, when can I do that? When the game's almost over. It takes a while to build up to get that stuff, and by that point, the game kind of snowballs to a pretty quick end.
The game goal is just not satisfactory. It's like somebody puts out a card, oh, I have 10 dudes now. Oh.
Well, I like the multiple
Yeah, but they're all
endings.
kind of the same thing. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
it's collect 4 of this, or collect 5 of this thing, which is half as rare, or 10 of this. So kind of the same thing. Okay. And it just, I didn't find that to be an interesting build-up. Everything else happening around it is kind of cool. Again, I don't like the geometry, but it's kind of neat. The ability is kind of neat that I can flip over the station and have my own thing going on the back of it.
Oh, I like that flipping station.
Yeah, that's very
I wish
cool.
all the cards, they should have made the entire deck flippable.
The end game, though, the objective, so flat. It just, okay, 10 dudes or $20.
Do you think it's too short? Because I do. Very rarely do I think a game's too short. I think this is one of them.
It's just not satisfying. There's no end game satisfaction here. It just sort of comes to a conclusion. I didn't even see it coming. Somebody over there had 8, but I have 7, so it's either player's game. Oh, you got to 10? Cool. I just don't care. There was no rising tension, I guess, at the end of the game.
Sure.
You know? So what do you think? Final thoughts from you?
There's a lot I like about the game and its look. It's a good production. This company, straight up, they make another game. I'm checking it out.
Sure.
Because that's cool. And the game it's hard to explain. It's just a physical game. But it feels like it's really trying. I'm like, come on, game, you can do it. And I enjoyed a lot of the aspects of the game. So I'm not actually as harsh on this one as I might be otherwise. I'm giving it a 6. I would be willing to play this one. I just wish it played better, smoother, faster. The take that elements, I don't particularly love them. I didn't find them to be too bad. I did find the game took a little bit to get going and then almost ends right after that. You know, again, it feels like there's a really good game idea here. Mm-hmm. I feel like if they come out with Lunar Base 2.0, I'd be like, ooh, I'm very intrigued.
Yeah.
You know, because the concept of building a station and flipping cards and getting different actions based on the way that things are flipped, asymmetrical, getting resources, I like that concept. Mm-hmm. But it just falls shy of the mark for me.
I definitely agree that I would be really happy to check out a Lunar-based second edition, and hopefully that would solve some of my problems. Keep the look I love, and in fact, it's even more egregious for me because I like the look so much. It's so my style. I really wanted to like this. I don't. I give this a 5. I found it to be a letdown. I find the 2 card types, 3 if you want to throw the optional ones in there. One of the 2 kinds is kind of lame. The agents are just not that interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not good. You know, when you have 2 kinds of cards and one of them is sort of like, that's not a good equation. So, yeah, I'll check out anything else they do. Hopefully, again, second edition of this, a little stronger, a little more gameplay in there. As it is right now, this feels like a good idea for a game, and the game isn't done yet. So, there you go.
I agree.
That is Lunar Base, everybody. Thanks very much for checking this out with us. My name is Z Garcia.
And I'm Tom Vassell.
We'll see you on the next one. Watch out. In space, no one can hear you lose.